Well, hello. Welcome into this live edition of Scoop City, everybody. I'm the athletic senior NFL insider, Dianna Russini. The 2025 schedule is officially out.
It's amazing. I'm Chase Daniel, 14 years, former NFL quarterback. This is like the last time that we get to really feel the juice before training camp gets to start. It's one of my favorite times of the year, mainly because of the schedule release videos, but we get to dive into all the matchups.
What's funny is like some people, I think, like to play up how excited they get about the schedule because they just want football to get here. But you generally love this. Like you've been breaking down every team schedule. You're actually kind of annoying about it. Like you're doing a good job of highlighting the things that we should be paying attention through the perspective of the quarterbacks, the perspectives of the rookies, the new head coaches, and it's a smart way to do it. For a player though, like what are players like when this comes out?
Yeah, so a lot of times, I mean, the players we know some matchups beforehand because every schedule matchup gets leaked. The biggest thing I think players look for, one, what are the first 4 weeks of the season like? Because the first 4 weeks of the season, you don't have film on other teams. And so you're really having to feel like, okay, how do we know these guys? There's a lot of divisional matchups, right? This year, we'll get into that. Then you look at travel. Like, I'm pretty sure the Chargers have over 30,000 miles that they have to travel, which is a ton. And the Bengals have like 8,000 miles. You look at that. You look at if we have any international games, unlike the Vikings, they might have 2, which is absurd. We'll get into that. And I think that the next thing you look at least from a quarterback perspective, you look at when you play the cold teams. So if you're playing in Buffalo, or if you're playing in KC, or if you're playing in Baltimore, any of those Northeastern teams, if you're playing them in November or later, you're like, man. Or if like you're a dome team, you're hoping you don't have any outdoor games past November. So there's a lot of little intricate details that we can continue to get into, but all that plays into it. But also like how many primetime games? So a lot, right? Are we
that's my point. There's a lot to get into this, and
a lot.
And of course, if you were just going to your team website to get the schedule, or perhaps watching it on ESPN or the NFL Network, those are good spots because you're getting analysis and information. But it's the team Twitter handles that really rule their day. This is their Super Bowl. I've spoken to teams that start planning this and they start brainstorming ideas last spring for this upcoming spring. Like it's crazy how much effort they put into this. And obviously the trendy ones are, I think the ones that hit. So shout out to the Bills. That's my favorite one. So if you have
AI,
Bills, it's so dumb. It's just so stupid. And I love AI. And
it was funny.
I didn't know where they were going with it. I'm like, at the Brandon Bean, by the way, great acting skills.
Yeah.
Really?
He did look like an actor. It was surprising.
Kind of creeped me out how good he was at it. Like, is he just a good liar or what's that about? So, but Josh Allen obviously making an appearance in that one. What about which was the team that you loved? Of all the
dude, it's the Chargers. Chargers going Minecraft. First of all, the Chargers probably had this idea last schedule release that they were going to do Minecraft, and then the Colts decided to do it, and the Jets decided to do it, but then they didn't release it, and they pivoted. It's just there's so many, and I know the girl who does it, and she is an absolute genius, right? It's an all encompassing thing, but to have these little Easter eggs hidden everywhere, you have to watch it like 6 times. And then the Falcons one, like I loved growing up and freaking, going Mario Kart. Like Mario Kart Way was awesome. Rich Eisen was in that one. I was watching.
Yeah,
NFL Network. I'm like,
I think you're right. I think the formula for this is either really trendy right now, right? Where
yeah,
we get it because it's everyone's talking about, like the Jags did the guy, the guy that puts his face in the
yeah,
ice and the schedule, right? Like that's
Saratoga
everyone
water.
knows Saratoga water, which I had for the first time, by the way, over the weekend. Fantastic.
How was it?
It was great. I know you're a big water person, and you know Fiji's my favorite water, but Saratoga water is right behind, and you love the Mountain Valley. But I think the formula for a good hit schedule release is either super trendy or super nostalgic, right? That makes the average football fan feel reminiscent or like, oh yeah, you know, I used to play there. That was cool. So
the 49ers one too did a spoof on Oregon Trail. And I thought that was awesome too. It was like 49er Trail or something like that. Like that's like old school. Did you ever play Oregon Trail like on the are you too old for that?
Like, no, okay. IBM, like your IBM computer, IBM, right?
Oregon Trail.
Yeah, but what was it's not a CD, it was a floppy disk. Remember you'd put the
was a floppy disk. And you had typing lessons growing up. Yeah, we digress.
That's so well. Man, one of the teams should have just had Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick do it.
You need to move your thing off your mic. It's just
I don't even know it's so I don't
your little cover. Yeah, you're not popping.
All right, so we are going to be live here for the next few minutes with you guys, just going through the schedules, talking about the things that we want to talk about. But we are following along on the chat on the right of our screens, so we can see what you're saying. So if you have questions for us, Chase loves the chat, loves the comment section, so he'll be reading them. He'll stay on top of that. I'll keep the show on the tracks. Chase will be checking in with you guys. Yeah, and hopefully we can answer some of your questions. So let's just go big picture though. Your biggest takeaway. Like what stood out once all these things came out and it became official?
Well, the very first thing was the quarterback matchups, the primetime quarterback matchups in week 1. Cowboys, Eagles, Thursday night football to start the season. Dak Prescott, coming back off of injury. Brian Schottenheimer. They have 2 bona fide number 1 receivers. They have the running back out of Texas, Jadon Blue. They have Tyler Booker, a guard, to replace their Hall of Fame guard that's leaving. I think that is going to be a huge storyline. And they're the Cowboys, right? And you look at what Jalen Hurts has done. Has just been a phenomenal career so far. And how is that offense going to look with first-time offensive coordinator Kevin Petula, right? It's going to change a little bit. And then you got Chiefs Chargers in Brazil. Like, come on, the Chargers going down to Brazil. Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, a division matchup. Love that. And then you get the matchup, right? Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Sunday Night Football. And then Monday Night Football. What bigger stage to have J.J. McCarthy make his debut against the Ben Johnson-led Chicago Bears. So, and Caleb Williams. It is an epic week 1 matchup. I mean, there's going to be tons of eyeballs on that. I'm going to be doing my quarterback breakdowns on this show, it's going to be nuts, Diana. What about you? What's your biggest takeaway?
I think just the fact that there's so many divisional matchups right out of the gate. I think there's 8 total, right? You got the Chiefs, the Chargers. You mentioned Dallas, Philly, Cleveland, Cincinnati, the Giants, the Commanders, Seattle, San Francisco. That is a lot. I don't recall it. I don't recall this many divisional games coming out hot like this right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But then I see it, right? And you take a look at what the Steelers are doing. Who do they got? They've got the Jets for week 1. So again, you have to figure that the league knows more than what we do in terms of.
That's a revenge game for Justin Fields too.
Oh, but you're alluding to Aaron Rodgers, though. Like you're alluding to the fact that maybe the league knows that Aaron Rodgers is definitely going. Look, all signs point to it. We feel good about it. I think they feel good about it, but it's not official till it's official, right? Let's just see how the spring goes. Let's see where everyone's at. But yeah, I just think that to me really stood out. And look, the Aaron Rodgers thing. I know we kind of are joking about it slightly here because it's become a little ridiculous that it's mid-May here, almost end of May, and we still don't know what he's doing. But he's kind of looming over this schedule here because there's a lot of Steeler games that are great storylines for whoever the Steelers face. If Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Rodgers, obviously gets his former team, the New York Jets, whether it's Rodgers against the Seattle Seahawks, whether it's Rodgers against the Vikings,
They have
right?
4
We talked
primetime games.
how many times
Too,
we talked
which
about
is
that
a
in this
lot.
show, right?
Yeah.
About Rodgers possibly going to Minnesota, all that. So I'm looking forward to that. And just the fact that the Vikings, which also the Packers, right? The Steelers
Packers,
are playing the Packers. Like, again, it's like the best Aaron Rodgers ending, if that's what it's going to be here, or
Yeah.
best chapter in terms of the revenge games. But we touched on Minnesota, right? And I think it's just the thing that stands out about the Vikings is the international,
Oh,
right?
man.
Just the fact that they're going back to back games there, 2 weeks, 2 different cities.
It's never been done before. I mean, it's a
Never.
huge deal. It's a huge deal for a couple reasons. One, just traveling. Like, I played in 3 international games. Some players love them. Most players hate them. Coaches hate them, unless you're crazy. The one good thing first, I'll just say this. The one good thing about international is you continue to grow the game internationally, and you continue to grow the game abroad, right? There's 7 international games, the most I've ever had. I would imagine in the next 5 to 6 years, there's going to be 18 international games, and they're going to sell that package off, right? And they're going to make a ton of money off of it. This is why they're doing it. But from a player's perspective, you lose a lot of time with your family. You're overseas for 2 weeks. You're going over there, and then you have to pack everything up, and you have to go to another city. I know it's a 45-minute flight to Dublin. I get that. But it is still annoying to be able to have to be gone that much time, because let's be honest. If you're a family with little kids, like when we went international in 2017, I and my wife, not I, my wife had just had our firstborn son. Okay, he was born August 31st. I think I got 3 weeks with him, and then I was gone a week. Like, when he was 3, I was gone 25% of his life by the time I got back, because I was gone 1 week out of the 4.
Yeah.
And it was just hard because first time mom, want to be with. There's stuff like that goes on all the time.
I know.
So not all the
It's
moms
stuff
can
fans
go.
don't even think about. Like, no one's
Yeah.
thinking about that when they're looking at this, right? And that's
Yeah.
why I do appreciate your perspective. I was just taking a look at some of the other teams that are playing internationally, like the Broncos, for example. They've got a London game against the Jets, and you look at their schedule, and they've got 9 home games, 7 away, and 1 in London. Like, to me, that's a win, right?
9
because
home,
9
7
home
away.
games,
Yeah.
7 away,
In
1 in
London's like,
London.
yeah, even though it's away.
And it's away, but you're really there's no advantage there, right? So they really, if you think about it, they're they're going to have what we'll call it home field advantage,
Yeah.
so to speak, headed into this. So of all the international games, was there any? Look, you're very clear about how you feel about international games. I like them. I like the idea of the whole sport growing. I like the fact that they're trying new cities. Is there a country that you think that you're like, are you more interested in a game being played in Ireland this year, or back to Brazil? Like the Brazil experience last year. I mean, to me, all I remember is Jordan Love, unfortunately. Like it just like stands out, isn't it? Right? It's just,
It was such
we
a good
thought he was
game
going to
until he
have,
got hurt. Yeah.
a certain type of season, and that got him, obviously. So I don't know. Is there any international game that you thought, all right, maybe this will be cool for the players? I could see players maybe digging this.
Yeah, I think obviously the first game. I think the Brazil, Friday, September 5th. Friday, it's just on YouTube, which is crazy because I feel like YouTube's going to make this huge entrance into, and they already have with this game, into sports media and covering football, and that it's free, which is crazy. So the Chiefs, Chargers, I mean, that's probably the best of them, but I like the Madrid, Spain one. Like the Madrid one is huge. It's the last of the slate. It's Sunday, November 16th. 9:30 a.m. Eastern start, so it's out here at 6:30. But you get Jaden Daniels in the middle of a season, which they have a tough schedule against Tua if he's healthy, and the Dolphins. Tua's been overseas a few times, so I think that is probably the one in Madrid that I'm looking forward to, and just continually adding cities. Like, can we play next year in Japan or South Korea or Dubai? Or I just think it's great for the game to grow globally, but make no doubt about it, when they're doing this, it is for absolute cash. They want the cash money, and they're going to sell it for it.
Japan.
Oh, There's actually a good question, Dianna. It's from
Okay.
Mojul. Okay. He says, how
Okay.
do taxes work for international games? I heard you pay less in taxes for London games. So that is an excellent question. You get taxed as a player where you play. So if I'm from California and I'm on the LA Rams, right, and I'm getting taxed 13% state income tax, if I play in Tennessee or if I play in Texas or no state income tax, I get taxed 0% of that state income tax. If I play in London or if I play in Dubai or if I play in Madrid, I get taxed that rate, which I'm not sure what London is. It's still high. It's not as high as California. But if like you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're going over to Madrid and you're going over London and Dublin and all that, and they have insanely high taxes. You get paid. Your taxes come out of that game check that is paid to you in that international city. Great question.
Majal, that was a perfect question for Chase. That's right up his alley. So we talk international games, but really the other big story outside of obviously the quarterbacks, the rookies, which we'll get to in a second here, is the holiday schedule. So you've got the Cowboys hosting the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. And you got to figure, you feel like the Chiefs are kind of replacing the Cowboys a little bit as America's team here, right? With them getting this Thanksgiving game. It's like, okay, obviously it's Cowboys. Everyone tunes in on Thanksgiving. It's the standard. It's what we do. But when you take a look at just what the Chiefs have been able to accomplish, I'm going to make you pick here, buddy. I'm going to make you tell me.
This is a great question, and one we don't take lightly. Like I obviously think like Dallas is America's team, right? But they haven't. I'll give you a date here, Dianna. Stay with me. January 15th, 1995. Do you have any idea what that date is?
The last time the Dallas Cowboys
were in an NFC championship game. That's the last time they were in an NFC championship game. The Kansas City Chiefs have been in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. Okay, so you look at that, and that's not, the viewership matters too. And last year, the Kansas City Chiefs in the United States, they averaged 25.5 million people per game. It was easily the most in the entire NFL. And you look at the top 10 broadcasts of last year in the regular season, the Chiefs were on 4, the highest 4. The Cowboys were on the 2. So they are getting more and more global recognition. And when that comes, it's because of a couple things. Sustained success, 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. It comes because your quarterback is the face of the NFL. There's no doubts about it. And you get in more primetime slots, right? So for me, that makes a lot of sense. And look, the Cowboys, always going to be a draw. But this Chiefs-Cowboys game, it could hit 50 million people. The record right now for regular season games like 42.2 million. This could hit 50. So I think the Chiefs continue winning. They're in the middle of a dynasty. It's hard to say because the Cowboys America's team, I was from Dallas. It was Tex Schramm, a marketing genius for the Dallas Cowboys, that sort of started it. And Jerry Jones is a marketing genius, and he continued it. So, yeah, probably internationally. But I think the Chiefs are right there, man. I really do.
Yeah. All right. So this Thanksgiving slate is Packers at Lions, Cowboys hosting the Chiefs, as we mentioned, and the Bengals at the Ravens, which, again, this is – I never know how I feel about this because I like the idea that we go back to back with great games. And I'm probably in the minority here, but sometimes I wish there was one game that wasn't so great so I could spend some time with my family. I used to cover games on Thanksgiving when I was at ESPN, like actually go to them. So I never cared. But now that I am home for the holidays, I'm like, man, I don't talk to anyone. I'm just at my couch though, which I guess maybe that's good. maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's the gift from the NFL to my family. I'm not talking. And then you get the Christmas slate, week 17. Cowboys versus the Commanders. The Vikings host the Lions, and the Chiefs hosting the Broncos, which the Broncos almost got the Chiefs last year.
Both times.
We mentioned Broncos earlier in the show. They got 6 primetime games. I mean, you talk about the team that was just like the little pumpkin 2 years ago that are now the carriage. There's 6 primetime games. The Broncos, right? They've in 2 years. They've
Playoffs, man.
the
Playoffs.
Broncos should be thanking Scoop City because we always give the Broncos so much love on the show.
Brazil
What
201
about the
says, what about the Christmas Netflix games, which are way better than the Thanksgiving games now? Yeah, I mean, look, it's the second year in a row that's happened, and they're just going to continue to get better. I mean, look, the NBA, and we talked about this on our podcast, the Chiefs, how the Chiefs stole Christmas, right? They want to be the featured team on Christmas. Well, the NBA used to own Christmas. And you know what happened last year? The Chiefs came into town and said, give me all of that. Now the NFL wants to own every single major holiday. They want to own every single day of the week other than Tuesday or Wednesday, right? Friday's game, the Eagles play a game on every single day of the week other than Tuesday and Wednesday. It's just, where is this going to stop, right? It's like, you got Black Friday, you got Christmas. I love the standalone games. The Christmas games are having 3. Like I'm trying to have Christmas with my family. And we're opening it up and I'm just like, yeah, okay.
And that's my point.
Okay,
it's so hard to lock in, and unfortunately the family, they get the hand because I don't want to really.
Well, what if you're one
involved.
of the players too on the Chiefs or the Lions? They don't get Christmas or Thanksgiving, and I played on Thanksgiving before. I haven't played on Christmas, so you just for people that do that, you got to either hope the Chiefs play the late game at the or they're hosting the Broncos. You'll do Christmas 2 days before because you're in a hotel. That's what's crazy. People don't think about. The Chiefs and the Cowboys and Commanders, the Vikings, the Lions, they're all in a hotel room
on Christmas
Eve.
Yeah.
They're in a hotel room. Now, it's different if you're at home, but that sucks for some guys. But football.
Yeah, all part of it. All right, so we're just coming off the draft, and we've been spending a lot of time talking about this draft class. So I figured let's just wrap this up with talking about some of the rookies because we're going to possibly see some early debuts. To me, the schedule that stood out when I'm thinking about, especially the quarterbacks here, the young ones on that could get an opportunity, the Giants schedule. Oh boy.
Ooh, baby.
They did not do the New York Giants, Joe Shane and Brian Daboll any favors in trying to help this group out here. As we know, they've got Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and now Jackson Dart, who by all accounts, it's working well. They seem excited. They got Eli Manning talking to him out there. Brian Daboll hasn't left the kid's side from all the videos I see. I have yet to see Jackson Dart without Brian Daboll standing next to him as they're trying to grow this relationship and learning and teacher-student, the whole thing. So my question for you, though, is because you see this as being such a challenging schedule, do you think this is going to force the Giants to maybe debut Jackson Dart earlier than perhaps what they would like to?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first 6 games at the Washington Commanders, who made the NFC Championship game, at Dallas, difficult no matter what. Chiefs, they get at home Sunday Night Football, weird, but the Chiefs are going to demolish them. Versus the Chargers at home, playoff team. At the Saints, should be a good game, should win that. Versus the Eagles, Thursday Night Football. You have a real possibility of starting 1-5, even with Russ as the starter. So I would imagine if they get to that 1-5 mark, like Russell Wilson leading us back to the playoffs at that point, probably not going to happen. You got to imagine Joe Shane and Brian Daboll are like hot seat, as hot as it's ever gotten. And then, like I've said this the whole time, I think if you play Jackson Dart and he wins half the games he starts, if you're from there on, and you go 8-9 or 7-10, I think they keep their job if Jackson Dart plays well and they show that they can develop Jackson Dart because they are the ones who drafted Jackson Dart. It's a very interesting situation because, look, you signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year, $14 million deal, but with Jackson Dart, he's probably going to have to play a lot sooner than people want him to. And I've said this before. We went back, Dianna, in historical data. And I said, hey, since 2020, okay, there's been a lot of quarterbacks drafted in the first round. I think there's like 15 or 16. The average time that they sit on the bench is 2 weeks. 2 weeks for first-round quarterbacks. The average start is week 3. We didn't take Jordan Love because he sat for some time, and we didn't take J.J. McCarthy. So take those 2 out of it. Everyone else we averaged out, he should be starting by week 3. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case, but this absolutely puts him like, hey, all right, if we're doing this, something's got to change.
Yeah. Well, what's the stat for a 5th round pick, right? Shador Sanders went to the 5th round with the Cleveland Browns. And let's pull it up. Take a look at the Browns schedule.
Zero
They
primetime games. I know that.
they have 0 primetime games, but they start with the Bengals. They got the Ravens, then the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings, the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Patriots, a bye week, right? That's just the front end, and that's just a landmine uh, of a schedule
Yeah.
where I have a hard time believing they're going to roll him out in any of these games.
God, they got a brutal schedule.
I know it. You see a little relief. So after the bye week, they got the Jets, the Ravens, the Raiders, the 49ers, the Titans, the
A
Bears.
little relief.
Yeah,
What?
I don't see much relief here. This is tough.
I would think that if I'm Shador Sanders, maybe after bye week, right?
That's what I said. That's
Get them that
the
extra.
Jets. Like,
Or
I don't
here's the thing.
what you gonna throw them in the fire? You're going just put them up against the Steelers.
I think that Shador needs to sit. He's quarterback 4 right now. And I've heard some other people in the industry say some interesting things. But what about Kenny Pickett gets you excited? What about Joe Flacco gets you excited? For Stefanski and Andrew Berry, they drafted 2 quarterbacks. Throw one of those guys out early. See what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Look, the way they're set up, Dianna, the way they're set up for next year's draft, they sort of have to see sooner rather than later what Shador has or what Dylan Gabriel has. And if you're starting Flacco and you're going back between Flacco and Pickett for 8 weeks, and you only have 8 weeks then we're going to go to the rookies. Then you probably have to cut one of the veterans. You see what I'm saying about this? It's an interesting dynamic that they're in because they know they're probably not going to be great in a very difficult division. So it's an interesting way to sort of think about it, and I'm just really interested to see how these first few games go to see what they do.
Wonder if Myles Garrett is sitting there going, I mean, he's counting all of his money and celebrating that, but just the quarterback situation is just it's still not great there. But the Shador Sanders stuff is going to hang over the Browns all season. All season. He's gonna have one good practice and everyone's gonna be calling for him. He's gonna take 2 snaps. If that. How much does a 4th string quarterback even get?
That's a great call. You're in training camp, you're getting maybe 2 reps in a period. Maybe.
Oh my God.
Maybe 2 reps in a period. So you add that up, it's 6 reps.
The starter's getting what?
10, 8 to 10 a period. So you have to almost figure out, and I think they're going to probably figure out this fast. Hey, do we want to roll with Flacco? Because Flacco wasn't great last year. We know what he can do. He led 2 years ago. He led them to the playoffs. It's just an interesting dynamic for me, especially for the Browns, because the media decision and the media attention for the Browns will be higher than it's ever been. How are they going to handle that? What are they going to do? Is Jimmy Haslam going to call down and say, hey, you need to start Sanders? Knowing that they have draft capital next year. It's interesting. So yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Let's go to primetime games real quick.
Oh, you want to do primetime games?
Let's do primetime real quick because I think it's interesting. Interesting. I can't talk.
Is there a primetime game that you think is blockbuster? I mean, the Cowboys play 4 games on Thursday night. That's never happened before. This never happened.
Which is crazy.
And God, I hear how much players hate those Thursday night games. Although on the back end, it's fantastic.
So the Bills have 5 prime times or 6. I think they can win all of them. Week 1, Ravens Sunday Night Football. Week 3, Dolphins win. Week 5, Patriots Sunday Night Football. Weird game to put on. Week 6, Falcons Monday Night Football win. Week 12, Texans Thursday Night Football win. You said the Cowboys. The Cowboys are interesting. So how do you play 4, Chase? How do you play 4 Thursday night games? Because I remember when we first started this whole Thursday night game, Dianna, with the Cowboys and with everyone, I was there when we started playing Thursday night games. It was everyone's like, this is the worst thing ever. Well, when you open the season on a Thursday night game, you get 10 days of rest. So that's not playing a Thursday night game like normal because you don't get a short week. And then you have in the middle, I believe, week 14 and week 15. So week 14 would be Thanksgiving. No, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Anyway, the Cowboys play back-to-back Thursday night games. So if you play back-to-back Thursday night games in the middle of the season, you're getting the same 7 days off. So you really have one short week. That's what the Cowboys are saying. And then toward the end of the year, I think it's week 17, they play the Commanders on Christmas. So that is another short. So really there's 4 Thursday night games, but there's only 2 short weeks. So it's really like playing 2. That was very over the top. But do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm following.
Because when you look at Thursday games, you look at the time of rest. You know what I mean?
100%. That is the first thing coaches tell me that they do. They look at how they're going to set their schedules up. Detroit heads to Philly on Sunday Night Football in week 11. That's a really good test for the Lions in, tough weather against the Super Bowl champs. That one I've got my eye on. Anything Commanders right now?
I mean,
they got that week 17 Christmas game there that stands out.
Well, they face much better competition than last year. They have the Eagles twice in the last 3 weeks, plus matchups versus Miami, which is always a good team regular season if it's not cold. And then they play the NFC North and the AFC West. Like the NFC North, I think, is probably the best division in football, followed up by the AFC West, which is almost the best division in football. And so I think they can really, if they're good, they can really ruin some team seasons. This is going to be a big test for them because they play a much, much more difficult schedule. And teams have 20 games on Jaden Daniels. They can study the heck out of it. They're going to know how to game plan against them. They got better with Laramie Tunsil and Deebo Samuel. That's an interesting sort of dynamic for me with the Commanders.
Look how the Jets just have one primetime game compared to last year, right? Like what a difference when
I bet they love it though.
I'm sure that they want to stay as quiet as they can. Yeah. The Texans with just 3. I thought they would get.
Doesn't surprise me.
I thought they'd get a little bit more there. Obviously, the Vikings.
They're not a ratings draw though.
They're not. How about Atlanta with 5 primetime games?
That's weird.
That was bizarre. San Francisco with 5 makes sense to me. The Bills with 5.
Atlanta Patriots, with 5 doesn't make any sense.
The Patriots even getting 3 I think is a little much.
Vrabel and May.
Yeah, that's the draw there. The Colts getting on the board with 1, but as you said and mentioned before, the Browns, the Tennessee Titans, and the Saints with 0. I cannot believe they did not give the Titans 1 game.
Cam Ward, is he the least talked about number 1 pick of all time? It's actually good for him. It's actually good.
Yeah, off the grid, off the radar seems to be the way to do this thing. Well, I think we dove into almost everything. We talked a lot about the different matchups that we're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Eagles at Giants, Saquon back in New York again because I just can't get enough of that story.
I love it.
I really think anything with the Bengals this year, I've got my eye all over as well. We'll talk about this on another episode, but I think the Bengals this year are going to be my Houston from last year. So
don't you dare!
I'm just throwing that. I'm throwing that on the grid now. We'll see how.
You know what? Well, one of our what Jeremy put in our notes, which I think is genius, about the best pure week of football before we get out of here. In all the schedule and all the weeks, it's week 6. Thursday night football, you get Eagles at Giants. Saquon back in New York, just like you said. Sunday morning in London, Jets Broncos. Not great. Still morning football, though. We love it. 1 p.m. game, Rams at the Ravens. Stafford, Lamar Jackson. Love that. 4 p.m. Sunday, Bengals at Packers. Come on, you're Bengals, okay? Now they're like the team of destiny for you. Sunday night football, Chiefs at Lions. Chiefs on the road against the Lions. Remember that game a couple years ago where Travis Kelce lateraled it to LaShawn McCoy? And then Monday night football, Bills at Falcons, Bears at Commanders, the PMT Bowl. It's freaking packed. Week 6. Let's go.
All right. To end Scoop City schedule release edition, your Super Bowl winner. Now that you know the schedule, give it to me now on May 14th at 10 o'clock Eastern. Chase?
I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Come on now.
I knew that was
And the home of the Chiefs. I was almost at the Eagles. I think it's a rematch. You know who I think's better this year too? 49ers. I think it'll be better.
I think the Rams are going to be good this year.
Oh, man.
They're kind of my little surprise pick in there. That may
Ravens
squeeze
could
on.
win it all. Somebody said that, Mojal, again. Bills,
Is it
too.
the Bills?
AFC is loaded.
Could the Broncos make a run here with some of these additions?
Dude, the Broncos had a good offseason.
They had a good offseason. All right, that'll do it for us here. The 2025 schedule release, our first time going live for the schedule release here on Scoop City. If you were in and out on this, or maybe you're busy and you want to re-listen to this again, this will drop in your feed tomorrow. You can just watch it right here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe too. We're trying to keep growing the subscribers, and it's growing actually by the week. So we appreciate those folks that were in our comments here, chatting with us, hanging out with us here late on the East Coast. If you're on the West Coast, I hope you enjoyed your dinner. And we provided some entertainment. Provide some entertainment for you. But that'll do it for us now. We will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys. Tag me next time.